Hey everyone, and welcome to the unboxing and first impressions of the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5. As someone who has previously used the Fitbit Versa 2, I was really excited to see what the Galaxy Watch 5 had to offer. In this video, I'll be sharing my thoughts and experiences with the watch so far. Before we get started with the video though, I'd like to say that only 1% of my viewers are subscribed to my channel, so I'd really appreciate it if you click the subscribe button. It would really motivate me to keep making more videos like this. Alright, so let's get started now. I've had this watch for around 3 days so far. I got the 44mm version in graphite color, and I must say I love the sleek design with the aluminum frame and sapphire glass. It feels so premium and looks great on my wrist. For those with smaller wrists, there's also a 40mm version to choose from, along with the 45mm Pro version. My wrist is actually fairly small, and I like the big size on my wrist, so I think it's really a matter of preference on which size you choose. Right out of the box, it looks really cool, and these buttons feel really nice to press, unlike some of the fake haptic buttons that some other smartwatches have, like the Fitbit Sense. In the box also comes a charger, but no charging brick, so you'll have to buy a charging brick that goes into the wall. I really like the official Samsung charging brick that's 25 watts. I have a separate video on unboxing that if you'd like to see that. And after I unboxed the whole thing, I charged it up and went through the initial setup process. I'll have a separate video on the initial setup process if you'd like to see that. Moving on to the display, the screen is a 1.4-inch Super AMOLED display with pixel dimensions of 450 by 450, and it has around 321 ppi density if you'd like to know about the specs. The display is bright, vibrant, and easy to read even in direct sunlight. The watch is extremely responsive, and there's almost no lag when I'm doing normal things in my watch, like scrolling around in the app drawer or going to my notifications. There's an abundance of watch faces to choose from, and even some on the Google Play Store if you want to expand your amount of watch faces. I typically don't download ones from the Google Play Store, and I just like to stick with the ones that you get from Samsung. I also like the fact that you can customize the clock face however you want and get down to the nitty-gritty details, and it adds a lot of customization. Alright, now let's get to the part that a lot of people are going to want to know, and it's the battery. The 44mm version gets a 410 mAh battery, which should last you for over a day to 3 days, obviously depending on your usage. In my experience, the battery life was amazing for my needs, and that was only for like 3 days, and in those first 3 days, it learns your usage patterns and then extends the battery even further based on those usage patterns. I always see reviews and comments on YouTube saying that people returned their watch because the battery didn't last enough, but my advice would just be to wait 3 or 4 days for the battery optimization to be finished learning your usage. It's always great when you can charge it wirelessly with your phone or even plug the charger into your phone. My 25-watt charging brick came in really handy because it charged my watch to 80 or 90% in just over 30 minutes. Obviously, I don't have that much experience with the battery yet, so I'll make a separate video on battery, and also I'll make a separate video on all of the battery saving settings that you can turn on so that you can save some battery. Alright, moving on to the user interface. The watch runs on WearOS, which is made by Google, but Samsung has put its own OneUI skin on top of it, so it looks completely different than Pixel watches. The UI animations are amazing, and I love the app drawer layout. The touch bezel works nicely, especially the haptic feedback. And I know this is going to kind of anger some people, but because of the fact that I've never had the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic means that I've never had a Galaxy Watch with a physical rotating bezel. So I think that the touch bezel is really nice and it works well, especially, like I said, with the haptic feedback. But of course, lots of people say that the physical bezel is a lot better, so I have never tried the physical bezel before, so I can't really compare. The Google Play Store has its own section for the Galaxy Watches, and there are so many apps that integrate well between your watch and phone. This exceeded my expectations, as the Fitbit Versa 2's app store was really bad. Alright, now let's move on to the health features of the Galaxy Watch 5. So, the abundance of health features is interesting and new to me, as I wasn't used to them on my old Fitbit. It can measure ECG, blood pressure, body composition, SpO2 blood oxygen monitoring, sleep tracking, and other things as well. There are a lot of sensors as well, including an accelerometer, a gyro, a heart rate, and a barometer. There's also a skin temperature sensor on the back of it that doesn't actually do anything yet, and you'll have to wait for a firmware update that you've been waiting for a really long time, so I don't know why they haven't pushed that out yet, but in a firmware update you will get the feature to use the skin temperature monitor. It's always interesting to me to choose to monitor my heart rate and measure stress. I never fully realized all the calculations it would have to do to calculate such a metric. Another thing that people don't usually talk about is the fact that it displays the health metrics in an interesting way. For example, it has like a little heart for your steps, your active calories, and your active minutes. It's interesting to see the heart get filled up. Now for the specifications, it's going to sound like I'm literally a talking spec sheet, but for those who like specs, the chipset is an Exynos W925NM. The CPU is a dual-core 1.18 GHz Cortex A55. The CPU is a Mali G68. It has 16 GB of storage, 1.5 GB of RAM, and it has a microphone and a speaker. And if you didn't notice, the entire spec section has been recording on the Galaxy Watch's microphone as a microphone test. So what you're hearing right now is the microphone in this watch. It has an internal compass, which is shown in the Compass app. It has Bluetooth 5.2. It can connect to Wi-Fi, and it has NFC for Samsung Pay or Google Pay. It is IP68 water resistant, meaning that it can go underwater for a specific amount of time and a specific depth. Alright, so those were all of the specs. So overall, my first impressions of the Galaxy Watch 5 are very positive. The watch is very responsive, bright with vibrant colors, and I like the nice circle shape, which is different from my previous square-shaped Fitbit Versa 2. There isn't that much of an upgrade from the Galaxy Watch 4, at least based on specs and the look of it as well, but there are significant changes such as the skin temperature sensor and the battery upgrade that can make it a worthy purchase. The fact that there are so many apps exceeds my expectations for a smartwatch, and I wouldn't consider getting the Pro version, but that's just a matter of personal preference, because the Pro version seems like it does the same things as this version. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you found it helpful in your decision-making process. Again, since I only have 1% of my viewers subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed, and that would really motivate me to keep making more content like this. If you found this video helpful or have any questions or comments, just put them down in the comments below, and I usually reply to most of my comments, so you'll probably get a response in a day or two. So I will see you next time.